next section, we're going to talk about how to plan and facilitate brainstorms. Yogi Berra once said, if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up someplace else. And I think, while humorous, I think this quote is absolutely true for any kind of group thinking exercise. I think if you don't go in with a carefully laid out plan and a strategy on how you're going to get there, you're going to end up going someplace that you didn't want to go, which may not always necessarily be a bad thing, but if you're trying to facilitate thinking on a schedule, or if you're trying to get something accomplished in a limited amount of time, it's absolutely essential to have a good plan in place for where you're going. This is a brainstorm. Creative thinking, the process can be sporadic. It can be all over the place. But a brainstorm, when you're getting a group of people together to accomplish a creative thinking task, you need to have some structure. Because if you don't have structure, you're going to end up with this, which is not a brainstorm. This is a disaster waiting to happen. This is wasted time, this is wasted money, this is wasted energy, this is people in your brainstorm getting frustrated and being angry, not understanding why they're there, what the purpose of the meeting is, what the intent is, what your goal really is, what you're trying to accomplish, and what the next steps are. And without some of those things, you are in for a long, uncomfortable meeting. So preparing for a brainstorm, good ideas rarely happen by chance. More often than not, they're the product of careful planning and diligent follow-through. A brainstorm is no different. A little preparation goes a long way. So when you think about it, think about the last good idea that you had. While it may have seemed to come out of nowhere, there was probably a lot of thinking that went into it in advance. You started to notice something. You started to kind of churn it over in your brain. And then you followed up by that aha moment. A brainstorm is no different. You want to put in that legwork up front so that you're set up for success when the time actually comes. So we're going to talk about planning for success. How do you set a brainstorm or a creative thinking group up to succeed? Meetings of any variety are a process. A brainstorm or a group thinking exercise is no different. You want to identify the goal. You want to have that aim laid out carefully so that everyone knows what you're trying to accomplish and where you're ultimately going. You want to prepare in advance. You want to get everything ready. It's essential that when the time comes to get those people in the room to think about something, that you're ready to roll, that you're ready to proceed without any, I'm not sure what we should do, or who's leading this, or was there anything we should have known before we started. You want to avoid all of those situations. You want to be ready to go when the moment comes. Facilitation is key. You want to manage the people and the process. So while preparation of the process is key, you want to manage the people that are in that meeting. You want to keep them headed in the right direction. You want to encourage them. You want to pull good ideas out of them and encourage them to find good thinking inside themselves. You want to capture everything. It's so important to record and organize that output. You want to make sure that no idea is left on the cutting room floor, because you never know what small snippet that might seem insignificant today will lead to something truly brilliant and breakthrough in the future. And by capturing every single thing, nothing will be left out. Another important thing is by capturing all of the detail, capturing everything that everyone says, no one will feel like their ideas aren't being listened to and that their ideas don't have value. And this will encourage them to continue to participate and to be a part of the process. And then measure. You want to compare the output to what you were hoping when you went in. You want to really look at the goals and see where you were ultimately trying to go and whether you got there. And you want to kind of make corrections along the way so that you never veer too far off course. A couple of caution areas. Remember to plan breaks. Creative thinking is an exhausting process. It's hard to be constantly thinking, constantly churning out new ideas, constantly making new connections between information and data. So you're going to want to give people permission to go to the bathroom, to check their phones, to make important phone calls, to refill their beverages. Whatever it is, whatever that thing that they need to do that's distracting them from your meeting, you're going to want to clearly identify times when they can go do that. And by doing that, hopefully you'll guarantee their attention throughout the rest of the meeting. So if they know, hey, in 5 minutes I can go to the bathroom, or in 5 minutes I can check that voicemail that I just felt ring in my pocket, they'll know that they can pay attention now because very soon they'll be able to take care of their needs. You want to diversify your invite list. If you keep inviting the same people to every meeting, you're going to keep getting the same ideas. They'll have the same pain points. They'll have the same life experience. They'll have the same background. And all of those sames are going to bring in same ideas. So you want to really look at what you're trying to accomplish and then look for people in your organization who feel passionate about that, who want to participate, who want to offer you insights, and really reach out to those people and invite them. Toys, while people seem to feel that they're an integral part of the creative thinking process, toys can be a distraction. If you throw silly putty or Rubik's cubes or any of those kind of things out that people often feel like they spur creativity, what you'll see is some people it will help, but other people it will cause a distraction. Instead of focusing on the goal of the meeting, they'll be focusing on the toy that's in their hand. So really kind of use those items sparingly, in hopes of really keeping people focused on the actual purpose of the meeting. And then finally, get a space big enough for your meeting. No one likes to sit in a cramped conference room. If it's too hot, if it's too cold, if there's too many people, if one group of people is sitting around a table, but there's a second ring of people sitting around the outside, those outside folks aren't going to feel as engaged. They're not going to feel like they're part of the team. If you have a brainstorm process where you want people to break up into small groups, make sure you provide them with an area where they can break up into small groups so they can get away from each other. You really want to focus on getting the space that's right for your meeting. So what exactly are we doing? When you're planning a brainstorm, like I said before, it's very important to have that aim. And even more important, it's important to make sure that aim is one goal. Make one goal, one meeting. And you have to know clearly what that goal is. You have to be able to articulate it. You have to be able to explain it to people so that when they show up to the meeting, you can say, this is the goal of the meeting. This is what we're trying to accomplish. And that way people have a sense of progress as to whether they're moving towards the ultimate goal. And then acknowledge that progress during the meeting. Say, hey guys, we've solved this, we've solved that. This is some areas where we still need to make adjustments. But ultimately, you want to make sure that you have that progress and you acknowledge it so that people know they're moving forward.